Carlos again.
Yes. And we are here to talk about something we think it's really important. It's a challenge for most relationships. And we are going to talk
Not for us.
We're going to talk about arguing is the best way to have a healthy relationship. Basically, we're talking about arguing. Okay. One of the, like I said, it's a challenging. I don't know if I said challenging.
Yeah, do I have to agree?
It's
No.
important.
From the get-go?
It's. I'm gonna put Carlos on the spot.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell me.
What's your thoughts about arguing in a relationship?
Arguing in a relationship.
Good, bad. Is it a good thing?
Well, it's necessary.
Okay.
Well, necessary happens. It's not needed, right? But necessary happens.
Yes.
Again, well, my take is always goes to emotional. What is your emotional state? What are you going to do with that? Because that is going to happen.
Well, you're upset.
We are going to disagree with things, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now, what do we do with that? Because
With
I
the
can
disagreement?
I can
What
take
do we
it
do
badly.
with the disagreement when we're taking it badly.
Badly is when you take it personal
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to let it, because I think my take is like you are more focused on how you feel about that and not what the other person is feeling about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you have a point,
Yes.
you don't have a point, but let's say that you have a point. Let's say like that. Let's say that you have a point. Okay. First, like everybody, you want to be listened.
Yes, you want to be heard. You want to make sure the person is listening to you.
Yes, and that my look is like I'm listening to you.
That you're interested.
It's not like whatever.
Yeah,
it's not like
yeah.
I'm paying attention to
Yes,
you.
yes.
At least,
Yes.
at least start from there.
Eye contact, details. I think it's important. Eye contact, right?
And allow the other person. It's very interesting. I just remember something that was. I was telling the other day that I was reading books from this guy Castaneda,
Yes.
talking about the sorcerers, the guys that are
Yeah.
connected to this. Okay, he was in one of those
What's
sweat
the
lodge.
full name?
Carlos Castaneda, Mexican guy,
Okay.
anthropologist, I think.
Just in case anyone wants to go check that out.
Yeah. Okay. So one of there are many books, a bunch of books. I don't remember how many I read. 7, 8 different books from him. One of them, he's talking about in a sweat lodge when they smoke the smoky pipe with some herbs there to get the enlightenment to them. So, okay, the elders do that kind of meetings, and they argue about the issues that the tribe or the community is having.
Okay.
Big stuff, right? Like a big political decisions. That level, okay?
Yes.
So, how they argue? One take the how say take the ball, take the first start talking.
Are they passing things around?
They pass the pipe also.
Oh,
right?
the pipe. Okay, so they're passing the pipe.
The one that start talking express why they are not interrupting, because the others are waiting and let's say trying to channel or try to be focused on that guy to be able to express the best possible in that moment.
Okay.
So they want that everybody has the best, let's say, emotionally connection, spiritual connection, to express what they think in the best possible way.
Okay.
Look how different is that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we are going to be doing something similar,
like,
right?
A talking stick, I think. That we have, well...
In Agile, we do that. We threw a ball and say, okay, it's your turn, and we threw a ball. You receive the ball, and you start talking.
Yeah. So there's some distinction there, but we're gonna. What I want to jump to is we're going to It's a really interesting thing that we found out with ChatGPT when I put that out there. What are the 4 most important things?
Okay.
So when I was Googling this whole thing with ChatGPT, this is what came up. Carlos and I have our stuff. I'm going to tell you that in a minute. But what are the 4 main points that we should focus on? It said arguments reveal true feelings. Conflict builds stronger communication. Disagreements strengthen emotional intimacy. And fighting fairly prevents resentments. So that's
Okay.
kind of like, I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. What Carlos and I have been, we have our own personal stuff. So I wrote the things that have become part of like our culture.
As a consequence of each fight. This is
A lot of fights actually, because we're both so
retrospective. We do a balanced retrospective. Okay.
We're both very strong-headed. I could say strong-headed.
Not me.
Well, we're both alpha. But one thing I think we've become really comfortable with is giving the other person an opportunity to take the lead. So being okay with being the passenger, right?
Yes, yes.
But I just want to share our things here. So I wrote it down. It was,
okay.
Don't take things personally, which comes from the 4 Agreements.
What book is that? A book?
That's the book called The
Disclosure?
4 Agreements by Don Miguel. I can't pronounce his last name. That's as close as I can get.
Spanish West Peruvian guy?
Think so. I think so. But the main thing is the 4 Agreements. Very popular. Just Google the 4 Agreements.
Okay.
Have an exit strategy. Be what's that one? Sorry. Be okay with being wrong, or lose the need to be right.
That's a good one.
Lose the need to be right to win. It's not a competition. And then there's rules of engagement. And I'll kind of like put that up. We'll start there a little bit, because the rules of engagement is to not bring all of the old stuff into the moment of that fight, which I know is challenging.
They are so interrelated with trying to be right? Or, it's so interrelated because the rules of the engagement is that my take, right?
Yeah.
My rules of engagement is okay. What is legal to use? What are yes? It's like the boxers that have the 8 ounces, 11 ounces box gloves, right? What are we going to be using here, right? Yeah. And you said, okay, don't bring the past.
Don't bring the past, because I always think, I know my personal experience with anger and frustration, and I became really good at burning everything down. Like my element is fire, so I didn't check to see if that was okay.
I didn't know.
I didn't check to see, like, okay, burn everything down, and until a couple of times of burning everything down, it's like, okay, that's, like you said, it's you're using it like
for people
it's
to understand.
far.
Me, I'm water, so you're fire. So
yes, our element.
That's why we are able to.
Our element. So he cools me down, I heat him up. He cools me down, I heat him up. So when you find the right balance, that's when you start to That's when you start to have fun. That's when you start to have fun. It's not, like I said at the other point there, was not to take things personally. So where do we want to start in terms of sharing?
Because I think that this is yours. I'm going to put you on the spot. Because what I was thinking is that, okay, let's change for a second. Because what I'm thinking is that we want to, in order to win the fight, because it's what we want. We want that. We are looking for win the fight.
I'm not going to admit to anything.
Okay, we are going to get to another another state of mind later, right? But from the get-go, we want to win a fight.
Yes.
So,
honest.
It's like a war. We have declared war, and everything is valid.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna talk about your mom if it's necessary, right?
Yes. Yes. By any means
Love
necessary,
your mom.
we're gonna
Just in
win.
case. Just in case she's one. I love your mom. I love God. Yes, no doubt. But I'm gonna whatever, right? I'm gonna take any means necessary. That's an
Yeah,
expression that
because
you use.
we get angry, we go into rage, and then we forget what's the outcome that we wanted. And I have that discussion a lot with clients all the time.
Oh, you want to be right. That's the outcome.
That's what we think.
Yes.
Emotionally, that's what we think. But
yeah,
what do we what do we really want? We want the other person to agree with us so that we can have peace with them, so that we can influence them to then do the thing we want. It's the being right doesn't bring the other person to your side, and the being right doesn't create an outcome that you both can agree on.
That is so.
Because really,
wow.
when you get, like you said, get to the other side of, get past the winning, you start realizing that what's most important is the fact that that the two of you are now in a shared understanding. So the conflict comes from a lack of understanding, separate sides, two different perspectives. You see it in two different ways because we have all these different filters that we grow with. But what I learned, especially in this relationship I have with Carlos, is that I want an outcome where I still feel at peace and I don't feel like I've given up anything to have the outcome. So, meaning I haven't destroyed, I haven't burnt everything down like I told you. That used to be like, screw you, burn it down, I don't care. I'm not concerned about tomorrow. Just want to be right in this moment.
The other day you were talking about, I don't know who, and but this thing of the argument between, it was a person who was in a couple, and you were saying, okay, they have to take out the possibility of splitting. You have to take out that.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things that we did. That we
yes.
Right,
but that's
right.
I'm remember that
Yes,
it came out this week.
but
last
not,
week
not
you were talking about that and say that is so. There's another.
Yep.
You usually say on projects, right? What is our current state, and what is the desired state? That's part of the desired state.
Yes, the desire.
You want to be in a position, in a state, where the possibility of splitting is no longer there.
Yes.
So
yes.
that is something that we are not going to talk about.
Yes.
Because from here, from the current state to the next state, we know that we want to make it together. So
yeah, we have
splitting is not there.
Yeah. So
Gone.
So just to backtrack a little bit, first we start out with when we're first in our relationship, we start out with war, like you said.
Yes.
You want to see how many battles can I win? How many and big battles, small battles, like sometimes there's that thing of don't.
Whatever, as you usually say, whatever means necessary, we are going to use anything that we have at our hand to win that.
Yes.
Because it's more important to win the
argument,
the misunderstanding, right?
Yeah.
It's more important to win the argument than to be together.
Yes, because it's that lack of trust.
It's terrible, but our
self-preservation
is so strong.
Yep.
That
And the lack of trust. The lack of trust when it comes to this person that we're just getting to know.
Having issues with the cameras.
When we're just getting to know the person, we don't know if we can trust them. So we don't want to give an inch. And it's also cultural.
You think that it's just when you get to know where you are getting to know the person, or is something that culturally is something that we carry on, and then after we start lowering the decibels of the
Yeah,
fight.
I think
And
it's
like, okay, I'm done arguing with you.
yeah.
That is true.
No, well, I
I'm done
mean,
arguing with you, and
because
as
you
she's gonna be complaining all the time for that. We don't make peace to get to a desired state.
interesting, interesting. So I'm gonna. To me, the simplified version is
Okay.
um,
To think about.
yes, the getting to know each other, the trust, and then for some people, they could stay in that place where it's like it's too much of an effort to go to the shared understanding, so they just kind of give in to the fact that, oh, the person is always going to be complaining about this, whether it's the man, woman, however you want to identify within the relationship. The key thing is that some people may decide to just submit. Just submit because it's too much effort. It's too frustrating. But I think we stay in there. We stay there because we're still caught in the fact that it's a competition.
Yes, the thing is that that's it worth. That's the thinking about moving to a better state.
Yeah.
Is that's it worth to win this battle, right?
You have to decide if it's worth
Yes.
it to win the battle and have 2-3 days of not speaking to each other.
Yeah, that's
2-3 days of
I have had or I have friends that sometimes say yes, we spend few days not talking.
yeah.
How come?
And we've gone through that. We've gone through that.
But it's absolutely unbearable. It's something.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be mean, and that's something that we have to take out of the table also to take it. Check it
Well,
out.
I think you learn that you're being mean. When we were in arguments
No,
and we're not talking to each other, I didn't think I was being
Once
mean.
again, we define that I want the best for you. It
Yeah,
has to
but
be like that.
not when we were learning how to argue. So
Okay.
let's
So
let's
it doesn't
get- let's-
align. If
yeah.
I want the best for you, I don't want to harm you.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to hurt. And if we are not talking,
But when
I'm
we're
hurting. So
when we're arguing, nobody's determining that. You have to determine. You have
unless
to
it's
determine
what
it,
you mentioned right
the
there,
rules of engagement.
the rules of engagement and the exit, right? Have an exit. Say, okay, let's look. It's not fair what I'm doing with you because I'm so angry that it's not a good moment to talk.
Yep.
Why? What do you think if we go for a steak? Yeah, like we go for a steak,
Yes.
or we go out to have some dinner,
Yep.
and we
Yep.
talk tomorrow about that.
Yep. So you have
Because
to be prepared.
we are going to be together tomorrow, so that's
Yes.
and it's not something that you are going to die, me, I'm going to die, or some. We don't have to decide it right now, and in fact, it's a decision about something, right? That's
Yes.
the thing. They say,
Yeah.
so it has to be solved right now, in this emotional state. No.
No.
What is the strategy? Can we prepare like for a?
Well, let's talk real, because that was years later. That's not where we started.
Oh, you want to go back in time when we used to argue? We still used to argue.
Yeah.
It happens.
But it's not the so there's an arguing before the safety of not threatening the relationship, threatening the
And that changed everything. I would
yeah,
say changed everything.
It changed a lot of things.
That's what I'm saying, that in the desired state, we are not talking about splitting. That's
Yeah, that has to
out
be
of the
taken off
table.
the table.
Out of the table, we're not talking
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
So the thing is, if we are not talking about splitting, we are going to have to talk about how to fix this.
Yeah, so the key thing again we're getting into is when you're in an argument.
This one? This one. That's it.
When you're in an argument, you are specifically, as best as you can, dealing with whatever that conflict is right then and there. So the actions or behavior of that person, why does it upset you?
That's a good one.
Is it really that upsetting to you? Like, So you have a little bit of internal assessment that you have to do. For instance, it could be that thing. It doesn't matter to me, but some people have a lot of issues with the toilet seat being left up. It bothers some people, but so when you walk into the washroom and the toilet seat is up, you're getting upset because you're choosing to get upset. Because you can
That's
simply
true.
just put it down.
That's true.
Or you can simply accept the fact that I always like to do it this way.
The other side is not helping too much neither.
No,
right?
but what I like to say is that the toilet seat is up because you have someone in your life. If you didn't have anyone in your life, you wouldn't have the toilet seat problems.
Go complain.
Right? No complaints.
Go complain.
The socks are on the floor because you have someone in your life. So there's an other perspective of when you're in the mid, because I'm talking when you get upset and irritated and frustrated, to take a minute and have the gratitude of, well, if I didn't have a partner, I wouldn't have socks on the floor. If I didn't have a partner, I wouldn't have dishes.
That doesn't mean to me that you have to accept having shoes on the floor forever and the toilet seat is going to be up forever, because things are like that. Comes with having a partner.
Some things that does come like that, because
But
that's
there are
the
things that,
person you're
yes,
with.
they come
Yeah.
with because
Yeah.
the package of the person is the good with the bad. It
It comes with everything.
Yes. And the thing is that you cannot slice the person and say, okay, this part, this arm, I don't like it. Take it out. Because it comes with
you
everything.
can discuss it. You can discuss it, because that's the...
Yes.
And in the midst of that discussion, you might get into an argument. But it's the thing of creating...
It's a risk that it has to be taken, but because whenever you are going to be talking about something that is intimate, that concerns you, that you are worried about,
Yeah.
you are risking to have an argument. That is going to happen.
So back to our first point, arguments reveal true feelings.
Yes.
So that's a nice segue into that, because it sits on us. We think about it. We're ruminating. It's playing out in our heads, and it's best to take a moment and have that conversation with that person.
I think that you have to make sense also, because if the other person leaves the socks on the floor all the time, you have two choices. Take it like it's going to be like that, or choose another partner. Because, I'm sorry, I'm going to say like this.
Sorry.
Why? Because what is the other option? That you are going to be complaining forever. That is what you want to do.
Okay.
If you want that kind of, if you like or you enjoy that kind of relationships where you are going to be complaining because the socks are on the floor every single day for the rest of your life, go ahead. Yeah. But I'm going to say, you make peace with the socks on the floor, or you look for another part, look for another relationship.
So I'm going to say, we're going to have two different takes on this. My thought right away is stop being upset about the socks on the floor and pick them up. The next thing that I usually suggest is try to, if you can within your budget, get a cleaner. Because the details of living with the person of a simple, to me, I'm going to simplify it. I do understand what Carlos is saying. The extreme where if you're not able to flush the frustrations and start to accept the person that they don't see the picking up the socks as a value, but then you have it where, okay, what are all the other things that you love about them, right? So that's why my thing is get a cleaner if you can. or have some kind of a little bit of compromise,
I think that
right?
that's
Before we get to that
when we talk
extreme.
about conflict resolution, you have that, right? It's a
This
win-win.
is conflict resolution.
Perhaps half and half, because
Yes.
we both were going to have to compromise.
Yes.
Or okay, that doesn't matter because it's
No,
project
I like
management.
that. No, the conflict resolution. I think this is the perfect place. It is project management from where you're coming
But
from.
the thing is that, as you
But-
say, it's a choice. You get to get upset is a choice. It's a choice. You are choosing what kind of relationship you want. That's the choice.
Well,
It's not
again, we're gonna
because
have we're
get
gonna have
upset is part of the emotional construct. Is part of the emotional component that you are carrying to the relationship. So you want a relationship where you have the opportunity to get upset. Okay, good for you.
So I'm gonna put it in another context.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
gonna
okay,
say that you're choosing the tone of the relationship. So, for instance,
Yes.
I remember, and as part of my growing up, I come home, and I have to say that my mom was always upset because there's lots of shoes at the front of the at the door. Fast forward years later, I come home, and eventually my son tells me that when I come through the door, I'm always upset. And that was the first time that I was able to realize that I'm setting a tone based on habit.
Oh.
So now I had to start to check what's my emotional state before I step into my home, and why am I upset? Fast forward years later, when he now becomes a teen and he steps through the door and he then shows up upset sometimes, I'm like, okay, but remember, you don't need to bring that anger into your home.
Yeah, so that was your mom's fault.
Well, we don't know sometimes that it's a blind side. To me, that's an emotional blind side. You don't realize.
No, and we carry on our parents forever.
Exactly, right? So
yes.
back to the tone and the conflict resolution. So you were saying that there's a win-win. There's compromise. What are the things that you can do on either side of this? We're going to keep it about the socks on the floor. And what's the compromise? I was saying you can pick it up and stop complaining, because there's so many other things about this person that you can list that they're just, they make your life so much better being in it.
Yes, and in a negotiation, broadly speaking,
Yeah.
in a negotiation you don't just focus on the socks. You have to consider there are other things that are surrounding, right?
Yes.
So it's not just about the socks.
Yes.
Because finally the socks are not going to determine that we are going to wake up together tomorrow. It's not about the socks.
No, it's the emotion and the tone.
There has to
that
be more
you
stuff,
bring,
because if not...
but it's the emotion and the tone that you bring to the
so
moment. Yeah.
There are more at stake.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
Is what we have to start understanding, right?
Yeah.
That's where it start coming the other statement that you did about being right.
Oh yes, going back
because
to that.
That's perfect example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leaving the socks on the floor is okay. Well,
sometimes it is. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's socks on the floor.
If you want to be civilized and have some kind of common ground rules and all of that, well, perhaps it's not the best, right?
To have the socks on the floor, I'm gonna, the reason why we're even sticking to this point is that there's a lot of points that we can stick to when it comes to how you bring two personalities together, right? How you live your life, how the other person lives their lives, the value systems, your core values, like I just shared where I'm coming from. My mom was, that upset stuff about too many shoes in front of the door. There's a lot to unpack in relationships. And that was just an example of if you're living together, or when you share each other's places and things like that. But I think the main thing is the openness to have the discussion. That's a big
that's
one.
That's really a good one. And
really challenging.
We were back in a little going back a little bit,
Yeah.
we were talking about being right, and it's not the you use an expression. It's end all and be all.
It is not the end all and be all. People.
Okay, that's nice
Yes.
expression.
Yes.
It's not, our relationship doesn't finish on the socks. So
No.
I'm entitled
Oh,
to
but
leave
it
the
could
socks there,
though.
right? Okay. So
It could finish on the socks. No,
yes,
no.
no, it doesn't finish in a pair of socks. Finish. It's not gonna
But you know,
define.
but you
our
know
relationship.
what the reason too why I think it's such a key thing when you're saying about the win-win, or figuring out ways when it's okay to lose and allow the other person to win, or right, when you hold it all in. So you've been having all these mini arguments. It's been building.
Oh,
You're
that's
becoming
bad.
resentful of the person, and then the little thing of the sock being on the floor, you explode, and it's an overreaction to them because they didn't know that you were having issues.
Yeah, don't do
with
that.
yeah. But
Don't
we've
do
done
that.
it. I've done it. You keep it in because you want to be nice. You don't want to be mean, right? We hold on to stuff. We've been taught. I was taught to not express my, I don't know, concerns, frustrations, do a very Christian thing and turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek, turn the other cheek, turn the
Yes,
until you have no more cheeks to turn, and then you just like volcano shows up.
Yes.
And that's when I was able to have that's when I could speak when I was upset. So it took years to get to that place of being able to speak the conflict or the concern and not projecting it,
Yeah,
anger.
that's very nice because we don't have to. We know that if we are going to have a conversation about something, something itchy, something aching is happening in between, right?
Yes.
So don't wait for that.
Well, we're telling
as
you
fast as possible. Flash
well,
it as fast
well,
as
let's
possible.
say we're
right?
telling them.
Yes,
We're telling them
try to be as transparent.
Yeah.
Allow the other person to get to know you. You talk about something about intimacy that is so good there. Allow the other person to get to know you as you are.
Yeah.
Because intimacy, and what did you mention about
It
intimacy?
says disagreements strengthen emotional intimacy.
Because that's the thing with intimacy, to my take.
Yeah.
That's the other professor that was in the U.S. talking about psychology of love, talking about the
yes, the
triangle of
psychology
a
of
Steinberg triangle, right? And he was defining intimacy,
Communication. Oh, you mean
commitment, and passion. Yes, that was a triangle, right, in the relationship.
Okay.
Passion is understandable, right? It's the physical attraction, the appealing, okay. The commitment, we're going to talk about commitment after, but it's linked there.
Mm-hmm.
The intimacy, he was saying, okay, the intimacy is not the night that you spend with the other person. No, it's not that. He was referring to that openness, that trust. You talk about trust, to build the trust. To trust that you are open to the other person, who you are, like open, revealing your secrets.
Vulnerable.
That dark spot that you don't, you are even ashamed of what you have.
So vulnerability.
Being vulnerable with the other person, even if you, in your mind, you think that it's bad the way you are, the way you think, the way you feel about things, is so bad. But you have the trust that the other person loves you. So
you have to risk it.
The other one is going to love you. It's not instead. Despite, let's say word. Despite the fact.
You said the person is going to love you despite.
Despite what is listening, right? It's saying, okay, because I feel in that way when that happens, and it's so awful, but the other person is going to love you anyways. That's the intimacy. The core of the intimacy is that we are so open that I know how you feel about X. I don't know what. I'm making up because I have nothing about to say. But even though I love you, and you have the confidence or that trust that doesn't matter what you are going to say, what you are going to do, I'm going to hold you back all the time.
Yeah.
All the
So,
time.
for example, when we were first dating, obviously tone was a big thing. So, we have two different cultures: West Indian culture, Argentinian culture, the Canadian culture. The Carlos getting accustomed with Quebecois culture. So tone was a really big challenge for both of us, and there's lots of misunderstandings with tone. It's like, what did you say? Why, you know, so
Yeah, because
that thing where
that thing about
where
the
you
culture,
feel
right?
disrespected.
Yes, comment on the side is that thing
Yeah.
about culture that is so difficult to understand outside the culture.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So there are things, and we usually make jokes about things, expressions that in English you have, right?
Yeah.
You get to we are driving, you get to the corner and said, okay, and you tell me, and you want to turn to the right. Why? Why do I have to? Why do I want? I don't want to turn to. But it's an expression, right? And that expressions are part of culture. So in the middle of an argument, you are telling me, and you want to do that. I don't want that. And that could be a piece of an argument, right? Or
Triggers even more misunderstandings sometimes.
exactly. So very difficult, like our cases, that we are coming from such different cultures
Yeah.
and backgrounds and everything to be at peace with, okay, if I know that you want the best for me, whatever you are saying, even if it sounds awful, it shouldn't be so bad. And if it's so bad,
Yeah.
if that happens, splitting is not on the table.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love you anyways.
Yeah.
So let's try to understand what you say.
Yeah. And that
Because
and that was
you're coming from somewhere,
but
right?
that was our learning curve. Our learning curve took a little
Damn.
bit of time. Yes, it took a little bit of time because we had to first accept that the person really had our backs, and that took a little while. So we're both divorcees. We both have we understand failure. We understand how to that broken relationships. We understand the breakdown of a relationship. We like
Yeah, but it's not also the understanding. It's because everybody has had.
Or I should say,
it's
we
the
had
emotional. You have the impact of a certain emotion that happens on you, and you don't want that to happen again. So sometimes we are moved because of fear that we're gonna feel that again. I don't want
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like I said, I'd never be in a relationship again. Like I had no interest. At the end of the divorce, like hell no, I'm not doing this again. But the thing is that, so we had to prove to each other. I know I had to prove to Carlos that I really had his back, because I wasn't really sure how to have his back. Honestly, that was a little bit of.
I think that has a flip side.
Yeah.
We feel that we have to prove. I think in the other side, I'm not saying submit. Submit is not exactly the word, but you have to do the leap of faith.
The trust?
You have to trust.
Yes, yeah.
Openly,
Yeah.
trust that you are there for me. I have to trust.
Yeah.
I have to, because if not, this is going to be unbearable.
Yeah.
I'm going to be arguing with you all the time.
Yeah.
Everything is suspicious.
And you're also
skeptical
walking
of everything.
on eggshells too, and you're afraid to say what
that's
you
not
feel.
a way of it. No, I want to do a clean state, the next layer, where I'm going to trust you with 100%, and I'm going to feel light and free.
Yes, yeah.
And you are there with me. I want that. I want to get there.
Yeah. And that is a skill set. You definitely.
You have to learn. You learn to do that.
And it's not like a set formula. Like I do like formulas, but you do have to work it out within yourself. Because I'm always sharing with clients that the reason somebody stays with you has nothing to do with them. It's an individual choice every single time within that person. Like you said, the leap of faith you have to believe within yourself that this is where you should be.
Yes,
Like it's yes, it's of course I need to make sense that this person I really want to be with them, but if you decide to stay or leave, it's something that's internal.
yes.
Right?
I do remember that we were talking about something years ago, that I was realizing the fact that you get in love with the other person, you're getting in love with the relationship that you build with the other person.
Yeah. Similar to a lifestyle. You start loving the relationship.
Yes,
Things that you
is what
enjoy.
happened is that it's like the bridge, right? But what I love is that communication that happens that back and forth with you. So yes, it's you. That's fantastic. But by itself, you don't bring joy to my life, right? I'm doing something with you. We are doing
That
something
brings the
that
joy.
start bringing some. Well, that's flow, right? That something is happening. That energy that's going back and forth. That's what I want. And when you are not there, what I'm missing is that communication that I don't have, that I don't feel anymore. So you are making it possible that I'm falling in love with this thing that we built. You are making it possible.
So just to me, the clarity of that is it's the experience. When I say I like the word organic. So when we connect and we communicate and we exchange ideas, it's organic. The experience of that connection is what we fall in love with, what we seek to have more of, what we enjoy, what we. Right?
the more I allow you smoking the pipe, that's the thing of a.
Well, I don't smoke pipes, so just
No, me neither. My
that's
dad
just
used
the
to.
example of
Yes, but the thing of
the
say,
castaneda.
yes,
Is that it?
saying
Castaneda?
when you are gonna say something, sometimes I jump and I interrupt. I'm trying to polish myself, saying, no, okay, I'm sorry. Let's allow you to express, fully express, because I'm stepping into part of your rationale or whatever. Something is coming out from there, right?
Okay.
So we are missing, because this is a relationship, we are missing part of the nourishment,
extreme? Oh, okay.
that nourishment that is happening, because when you express yourself, when I say what I'm thinking, right, it's gonna be good for me because I'm able to express. It's gonna be good for you because you are seeing something that perhaps you didn't see before. So there is that exchange is a building block. We are building something there. So allow the other person to talk, to express, fully express, and as these guys on the lodge they were doing, put your mind in that the other person is able to express the best possible. That not stop thinking about what I'm going to say, what I'm going to. Oh, he said that. I'm going to say this. Try to plan how to answer. Let's put the effort on allow the other person to express.
Yeah.
And just take your time to reflect. The other day we were talking about, I like to read and say 5 minutes reading, 5 minutes thinking. So it's like reading. Allow the other person to express. Think a little bit. Do a kind of a delay response. Because if not, it's like we are like animals, right? You say something, I'm reacting. Don't be reactive. So that's the benefit of the big difference that we have with animals, is that we have that capacity of delay our reaction. Delay a little bit, give a little thought, give a little love of what you are doing, and now you exchange.
Yeah.
Give a little think, give a little love, and now you exchange.
I like that.
We have to have that in mind.
Yeah, very, very.
Next time that we
nicely said, because it is it's a challenging thing too to stop and pay attention, like the guys in the lodge, pay attention to what the other person is saying and value it even if as you're listening, you know that it's not your point of view,
Yes,
it's not
it
your
is right.
perspective, it's not how you see it, it's not the words that you would use, it's not, so it's a very, very, it's a fantastic
There is a
skill set.
synergy there that happens when we are in meetings, right? In business environment or whatever environment, you are in meetings, right? And you are listening to someone that is not making sense what they're saying, but perhaps triggers you on thinking something because what they are saying is absurd or doesn't make sense or has no clue, whatever.
Yes.
Doesn't matter, but that triggers something on you. So that's the beauty of that interaction, right? Allow them to talk, because that perhaps, if it's not right, perhaps someone is going to think about, oh, but that is not good, but what if? And a big window opens with a what if. Yes, because what you are saying is not okay, but it's something that I didn't see before. Oh,
It's, I'm going to say there, obviously you're going to have boundaries because the person, they can't take over the whole meeting from a
the rules of engagement.
business,
Yes.
the rules of engagement,
Yes,
right? That's
you have
why
to
I
define.
like that term so much.
Yes.
You have to determine,
I like that.
yes, your rules of engagement. I think this is a really good place for us to stop. We're going to continue more about this conflict resolution with arguments.
Oh, you are hungry.
Arguments
That was
and
true
how
that you were
to-
hungry.
We're going to continue some more about this conflict resolution, and let's just kind of like really make sense of the point that we're making. It's the fact that listen, take the time to listen, take the time to accept that the other person may not agree with what you're saying, right? Take the time, let me just look at our points here. So don't take things personally, right? So we don't take things personally. We haven't discussed the exit strategy, and we've touched on, being okay with not being right. But I really think for the first one, I think we can say that the main thing is understand that you need to develop the skill set of how to relate in a conflict with your partner or potential partner.
Yeah, that's
right?
it. I like the conflict resolution, or you say the rules of engagement. Yeah, because when everything is fine,
We have no problems.
there is no problem, right? But I usually say, well, I was talking about contracts or agreements, right? Now that we are doing fine, why don't we talk about how? That is something that we do in project management. That is define team charter. It's called team charter. It's called. It's a document where we define how are we going to solve our disagreements.
Oh, nice.
One of the things that we define. So let's say, okay, we are going to vote, democratic.
Yeah.
Let's say we are 6, 3, and 3. Okay, who is going to make the
Yes.
So we are gonna nominate someone outside the team that is going to give us another perspective and perhaps turn the balancing from one side to another.
Okay.
Right?
So almost like a mediator.
A mediator. So the things, how do we deal with us when things are not right?
Yeah.
Let's define it now that we are fine.
Yeah.
Let's define that now that we are feeling fine, and don't wait for when the moment.
That's such a good point, because that's how I came up with the rules of engagement and then eventually shared it with Carlos, because it was a point of realizing that there are times that I was going too far with insulting or allowing my rage to take over. This is, I'm talking years of different relationships, making up and breaking up and stuff, and then eventually going through a divorce. But the rules of engagement to me was a really good way to structure, like you talked about, intimacy, and make sure that you don't harm the other person. Because that was not the point of why I was getting upset, or it wasn't to be mean or to harm the person, but the more that I wanted to win and be right, I didn't have a boundary of like, how far am I going to go? So,
Yes, that's a,
so I
it
think
doesn't,
that's
the weight of in a relationship, the weight of decisions in a relationship,
yeah,
being right, it start like losing its weight, right? It's not the thing.
yeah. Well, I mean, I have
It
to
start
say,
losing the
'cause-
purpose of being right.
yeah,
Not because we are, I'm right, you are gonna love me.
Yeah.
It's not because of that.
yeah.
It's because I'm able to understand you. Perhaps I'm gonna win a brownie point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
Well,
I'm.
and then you know, I'm thinking in also too, because the culture of the relationship. So for us, we decided winning is not a it doesn't suit us. It doesn't bring more to the table.
No, because it's
Because we've already gone through where I win, then he wins, and then you know.
no, because
but we took it off of
we
the
are not
table.
in the where we are individuals, but in the fact for this bridge and communication,
Yeah.
we are a team here. So it has to be
That
our win.
is one of the key things.
It has to be our win,
Yes,
where
yes.
we both move to a
Yes.
better stage.
Yes, yes, yeah. The key thing. If you're in that stage of your relationship, to really start to figure out like, how can you be a team? If you're just dating, if you're thinking about dating, put that on the list of become a team, so that we, you know, to reinforce what I was saying, it's not a competition. It's not a competition, right? So yes. Okay, people, we are gonna pause here. We're gonna stop here, and we're gonna continue our conversation to help you manage conflicts in your relationships. Could actually be at work, because we talked a little bit about work,
It's relationship, in
but
fact.
relationships
yes.
in general,
In
right?
general. Yes.
But from a couple standpoint,
We
I'm
can talk
gonna
about
say-
couples more precisely, but in general, yes.
Yeah, but from a couple standpoint, I'm going to say that it has helped us to have a healthier relationship, because there's no eggshells, there's no, I'm mindful of when he's upset about something, he's mindful when I get upset, but it's not it's not a negative, right? It's not a negative where everything falls apart because suddenly you're upset. No, you start to be able to navigate in a healthy way the conflict, and you can still nurture your relationships. You can still evolve.
Yes,
you can still grow them.
And
And it doesn't define the relationship.
No, remember also that thing that we were saying previously about, not today, but the previous one, that's something that you set the tone on things, right?
Yeah, we said it earlier today too.
Yes.
I mean,
Today about the
this one,
relationship.
on the tone,
So
yes.
if we are going to argue, what is going to be the tone of this?
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
This is going to end up happy ever.
Happily ever after.
Ever
Fairy
after?
tale, or is it going to be derogatory?
Or it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel bad.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to feel
Yeah.
bad neither.
Yeah. Is it
More-
the, take off
more
the
because
earrings and drag down?
More because I'm going to say something stupid that I'm going to regret after. I don't want that.
Yeah, all
So
of that. Like,
if
been
you
there,
don't
done
feel
that.
suited for an argument, have a strategy, an exit, whatever strategy,
yeah.
as she was saying, have a strategy and say, let's delay this for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, we are going to be in a better mood.
Yeah.
Let's watch a movie, have some chips,
Yeah.
and enjoy
Nurture the relationship. That's the whole point.
because
Nurture.
that's way more valuable.
Valuable. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's way more valuable than arguing now and being right. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
exactly. Exactly. So, yes, we will continue this conversation. Hopefully this has been very helpful. It is how we conduct ourselves. It's a culture that we continue to build within our relationship. And yes, like Carlos was saying, we're going to go eat because we're hungry. See you
That was
at the
true.
beach. See you at the beach. See you at the beach. Yes? Okay, time to eat.